All right, you guys can all hear me and see me okay?
Got you.
Yep. Good afternoon, Nico.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Again, sorry for the delay. All right. You guys were being entertained, hopefully. Good. That's good. All right, let's get this show on the road. Lots of interesting things going on in the world. Bitcoin climbing, XRP climbing. Climbing and dumping and climbing. All right. Yeah, I was afraid we might have a little double top here.
Under your name like normal. Okay.
Don't forget to mute yourself out, guys. Unless you have a question for me, you can come off mute. Or if you have something to say to everyone else.
Nico, are you still in your XRP trade or no?
No, it took my stop loss out. I did post that in a previous post here, right here at 1:12 a.m. last night after midnight. XRP broke through the upward trending support, broke through. It wicked down to this support here, which was previous resistance support, wicked down here and then broke through and hit it. This wick down right here took me out. Wick down below the 215 level, taking out my stop loss. We could see a pullback as BTC went to max pain level of 96K that we spoke about on the live Zooms. If you scroll back, I talked about the max pain level a few times since the Bitcoin expiration, the options expiry, going back a little bit here, a couple weeks, or maybe a week, 2 weeks now. And we talked about that being, oh, geez, that was that long ago. Right up here. Back on December 26th. Options expire. The fallout will be over in the coming days. Max pain is at 96K. XRP about 165. But again, the market will make money, more money, if they move the price up, not down. My prediction is BTC back up to 100K, XRP to about 205. Well, XRP went much further, but Bitcoin did go up to about 96K so far. That was right here. I'm sorry, this is XRP. XRP went up to, before that happened, XRP went all the way up to 242, came back down, and right now, this little pump that we just had bringing us up to 218, we dropped back down to this level. I also said that would happen at 211. That was the most recent comment that I made, I think, yesterday. Right here, XRP, again, that was at 1 a.m. Broke through the upward trending support, wick down below 215, taking out my stop loss. We could see a pullback as BTC went to max pain level up 96K. We spoke about in live calls. We'll go over it again tomorrow, meaning today. If it needed to hold above 96 or bounce at 94K and come back up, and XRP might be along for the ride in the short term until it decouples, unless we get a quick whipsaw back up. We could come back to 211 level before bouncing. That's exactly what it did. It went right down. That was right here when that happened. It bounced up and came right down to 211 before bouncing, had a double bottom here before bouncing. My concern is, are we going to have a double top right here? This is XRP right at the 217. It did come up to this level. Now this wicked up to 218, but as you can see, none of these wicks above this level right here that we're hitting right now, none of them held above that level. It hit it right here, went through it, came back below, hit it, went through it, came back below, hit it, went through it, came back below, and retested underneath, and then fell. And now it's coming back up to retest. I'm hoping that it pops through. If it does, the next The next resistance level will be up here at the 221 level, because that was previous support and resistance right in this zone right here. Even though this wick down below it, it came back above and held above this level. So this doesn't count because it didn't hold underneath support, resistance, resistance. So that would be the next, that would probably be the next resistance level. It could go right through it, but that will be the next resistance. And then after that, there's a couple areas. As we get higher, as we climb higher, we have a little bit of resistance there. We have a little bit here. These are all these different little fractions, but this would be the major one right here, because we had on the way up, we had resistance, support, breakthrough, resistance before dropping. So I'm not as concerned about these little ones here. So this one right here would be the major next resistance level on the way up. And that would be at the $2.30 range, 231, something like that. But we got to get through these levels first. So I think we got to get above this, hold at 217, make it up to 221, breakthrough, hold, and all that stuff. As far as Bitcoin goes, Bitcoin still is kind of in control. I did enter a short somewhere up here. I think right here, once we got right to this level, I might have short, thinking that we might be at a double top at the 96,666 level, just in case. But we seem to have gotten through it. Actually, it would be right here would be the proper area for the line. We wicked up to 96,666. We held as resistance. We went through it and held as support. And it's still climbing.
Nico, quick questions, because I also went short on Bitcoin, and then obviously we're both in the negative. When are you gonna decide that trade's no longer good?
Yeah, it's already probably no longer. I wasn't paying attention. I did not give a signal for that because that's a high risk. That's a high risk trade. So I normally don't give signals on things that I wouldn't recommend anybody else doing, because once we pop up to this level, this long wick right here, very similar to these three long candles. And a lot of times whenever there's a double top, it's more likely to drop to the downside, but doesn't mean it will, especially if it's in, you know, climb mode. So let's just look at the upward trend. We have an overall upward trend. It's possible that that doesn't even matter at this point. Let's just look. Let me just look and see where the next resistance level it is. It right at 100. I already have it there. And I mean, I did say that I did say that up here somewhere that BTC pumping to the 96 max pain point. I meant to say max pain point, as I discussed on last Zoom. But next level is the 100K level with the green X. If we hold above 96K, otherwise we could see a pullback here. So yeah, I was expecting maybe a pullback at the double top. We did pull back, but we came up for a double top rather, and we went right through it. So let me just what was I just looking at? 100. Oh, yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. We do have somewhat of a channel on the upward trend. We might be hitting the top of it. We do have a little bit of a channel here. I'm very, very low on size here, so I did not risk much on that short. What I was going to do is if it did break down below and come below the upward trending support and then break the 94, around this 94 range, I would then expect it to fall back down to 90. At that point, I would have added contracts and gave a signal to go short, but just shorting the double top is risky. And obviously I was wrong, but I'm only negative $28 USDT right now. And even if I'm not even so sure that's going to hit the 100K mark here. It could just come up. This could be the top. It could come up and just hit the top of this channel. Let's go over and look on a bigger time frame. There's something else going on, guys, that makes me feel like we may not have this big push to the upside. Let's just see where we're at right now. Yeah.
Nico,
Go
I'll
ahead.
just say, I told you maybe a month or two ago about that 51-day Bitcoin cycle. The 16th is the next 51 day. So it's kind of going true to form to that cycle, if it helps.
And what happens again? Refresh my memory.
Maybe a month or two ago, I said back, basically October 6th, it hit that 126. There's a 51-day cycle that I had saw, I think Rick Santelli on CNBC said a couple of years ago, 2021, 2022. Bitcoin follows like a 51-day cycle for peaks and ups and downs. January 16th is the next 51-day peak of that cycle. So it's kind of following
Yeah.
to the form from October 6th, you know, the next 51 days was around whatever, the 26th of November, and then to now.
Yeah. So we're so
Just
on the
an FYI.
16th, potentially a peak on the 16th is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a 1 to 3 day margin of error that I
Yeah.
found over the, I kind of follow it over the past
Yeah.
couple of years. Just an FYI if it helps for trade.
Yeah. And that kind of coincides with what could happen here. I mean, as I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, I said that max pain at 96, but if we can hold above that, we get to 100. If we can hold above that, then we could come all the way up to the 108, 109, 110 level. But that could happen in the next couple of days. Yes, that can certainly happen this week. And then you got Clarity Act, you got all kinds of things that could possibly cause a little bit of a pump and a push to the upside. But will it be enough, or will it just be this? And us having a really well formed, head and shoulders. It's hard to say yet. I don't like to count shoulders that haven't been developed yet. But that could be one of them. I could have done this with a different tool, but I am being lazy. Oops. If that were to happen, we already broke this downward trending resistance line. We already broke out of the rising wedge here, which is basically a giant bear flag. But the reason why it broke to the upside instead of the downside is because it was up against major support here at the bottom of this area here, which is the 80K level. And we could have a very nice head and shoulders forming. And if that were to play out that way, I mean, it's got some days for this to happen, maybe the rest of this week. The other alternative, and here's a reason why, guys. It's not just that this could make a head and shoulders. It's not just because there's the 50-day moving average where the peak is supposed to be, in the next 2 days. It's not just because any of these things. There's other factors. Let me go and show you some of them. There is the moving averages, the RSIs. They're all showing something. They're all showing their hand. You remember here on the weekly, I was saying we got to get above the floor. Look at what we did. We got above the floor. We broke above the moving average, the yellow line. And here's that circle I said we're probably coming up to. And it will look like this. Okay, it's gonna come up, it's gonna come down, it's gonna come up. Now the question is are we gonna break through this? If we just get up to the levels I just said, right up in here. I mean, it would have to break through this and make a new high on the RSI and get higher than this level, even this level. If that happens, then we no longer have bearish divergence. That's over. And we could see this happen when we get all the way up to 126 and break through and make a new all-time high. All of that is possible. Yes, it is. But is it likely? And I have to look at what's most likely. Like if I'm gonna wager on something, I'm gonna have to look at all the statistical odds against it and what's most likely. And so what's most likely is, well, if we just look at history, since this all-time high back here, this was an all-time high right here at one point, boom, 69K. And then we broke through right there and hit 73.8. That was when we got higher than the previous all-time high right here. Boom. And look what happened down here. We're in the green zone. That's overbought on the RSI on the weekly. Boom. If I put my arrow right there, it's right in line with that wick right there. And then even though we went higher and then higher and then higher, we down here went lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. So that's bearish divergence. That's only happened twice in Bitcoin's history. The last time was the last bear market cycle, or the last bull market cycle rather, that ended up having a higher high, the highest high right here, 42K, then a higher high, and then a higher high, each time producing a lower high down here. And then that's this last pump, this last ditch effort right here was the beginning of the bear market. It just couldn't make it up any higher after that. And when was that, by the way? Well, look at this. This was December, January. January, we come all the way down and we try to run up in January. It goes all the way to March. I mean, it tried. I mean, it spent some time trying to get up there, but it was a lower high. It could not get higher than that. And that was the beginning of the end, and possibly even head and shoulders. And so I'm not saying that's going to happen either, but that is what the charts are kind of saying. Now, there's something else. There's something called the guppy, which is very similar as the EMA ribbons. Let's put those back on here for a minute. And let's just zoom out. We wicked up to them. Look at this. We wicked up to them. We're in them right now. We're trying to break through. This is what I said, a couple of weeks ago. Over the last couple of weeks on these live calls, I said we could wick through it, but we would need to hold above that. We would need to hold above the 100 in order to get higher, but we could wick through it, which would bring us up somewhere to the 100, maybe even all the way up to the 108, 109. And then either this time is going to be different, and we're going to break through all that, and we're not going to have bearish divergence anymore, and we're going to change everything, and we're going to go to a parabolic move to the upside. It's either that, or this time is the same, or everything's the same, and we're going into a bear market. But keep in mind, we've been dropping since 126 since October, November, December, January.
Nico, can we look at the monthly when you, or I don't know if it's a monthly or it's every bigger than that, but when you see if it's, hold on a second.
Well, it's definitely not higher, but yes, we can shoot. It's the 12-month.
Gotcha. Thank you. To see if it did turn green.
Well, this candle turned green, but the one that was supposed to be green didn't. Yeah. I mean, the last candle always was green. This was the one that normally ends on December 31st. And then this candle does turn green, like this one. This one ended green, which is the one that I'm talking about. This one ended green. This one ended green. And the next candle starts out green because it goes up. And then it comes back down and turns red right here on the way down. But as you can see, in January, this is January, well, the beginning, and then it goes up and it tries to make a new high, but it just never seems to get higher than that one. This one tried to go up, which would have been green. It would have been green, 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 and then coming down, green, 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 red. As soon as it gets below this, it turns red. But as you can see, it tried to go up, but it didn't get higher than that one. This one's going up right now. So the question is it going to get higher than this one? Now, the only difference this time on this 12-month time frame is that this candle ended red, which is the first time in Bitcoin's history that this candle, which is the 1, 2, 3, fourth candle after the last bull market top, we have bear market 1 year down and 3 years up. 1, 2, 3. This was the top ending December 31st, and it turned red, which means it came down lower than this one. None of these other candles did that. This one didn't come down lower than this one. This one didn't come down lower than this one. This one didn't come down lower than this one. So we're having diminishing highs. And so this is the one thing that, that's why I don't have a definitive answer as to whether this is the beginning of a bear market or if we're going to have a parabolic move to the upside and all things are changing in 2026. And this is going to be the time that things are actually different, because we hear about things being different all the time. They usually never are, but this time actually could be. And, so what would this what would have to happen here is this would have to literally make a higher high. If that were to happen, and this actually get up and get higher than this, that would be the first time in Bitcoin's history that this candle did that after the bull market top normally ends, which means that there would be no more bull market, bear market cycles as we know it. We could still go into a bear market, but maybe we'll have a parabolic move to the upside, otherwise known as maybe a super cycle. This being the cycle, instead of 3 years, it goes on for 4, maybe 5, and then comes down a little bit. That would change. That's the super cycle. But we haven't had one. We keep talking about it, the possibility of it, and it is possible. But this so far is normal. It's normal for this candle to be green. It's just not normal for it to go up higher than this one. And if that does, then that changes everything. But it could go up higher, as high as, like what I was saying, 109, 110. And that would be equal to this side. That would be a perfect head and shoulder, actually. Now, and we look at all of the other things. We go down to the monthly. We had a double top. We had a double bottom. It could be. We're also on the monthly, we are on top of the EMA ribbon, but generally speaking, we look at it on the weekly. On the weekly, we flipped it bearish here, and we've been holding underneath ever since, but we are coming back up to it. Let's just go look at the last time that happened in this exact situation, which was previous bull market. We did not get under it. This was just wicking down to it. And then we come back up. This right here is only time we got under it. So we flipped it here and held as resistance. This right here is very similar to what we're looking at right now. This situation right here is very similar to what we're seeing right here. So let me get rid of some of this other stuff. Gotta remove this stuff. I have too many drawings. It starts to get a little convoluted. So I'm just gonna do that one more time. This section right here is the same as this section right here in the grand scheme of things, as far as where we're at in the timeline. We had a top, we dropped 50%, came back up, double topped. We had a top, we dropped, we came back up. Maybe this is the drop and we're coming back up. But either way, we had a top here and we came down 30%, come all the way back up. This time we broke a new high, but we had 4 highs in a row. We had 108, 109, 112, 123, 124, and 126, a bunch of highs in a row. And a bunch of lower highs in a row down here. But this is the attention right here is is this is the last time we flipped the EMA bearish on the weekly. We wicked up at one more attempt to make a higher high. And what resulted down here when we had bearish divergence was right here. Right here. That would be the same as right here. Right here. Coming up to right here. Come all the way down to the floor. This one went below the floor right here. Came back up. I'm sorry, I'm talking about this one. This one came down to the exact same area. Let's just draw the floor here. Which is the 38 on the scale. Boom, boom. Hit it right here. Bounced and came up for one last attempt. And what happened is we just had a lower high. High, lower high, lower high, right there. Boom. We came above the yellow line, which is the EMA, which is the moving average, after hitting this line. So very similarly, we hit the line. We're coming above the EMA, the moving average, SMA. And same thing happened up here. We're curving around, coming back up to the EMA ribbon, even though we flipped it bearish here. We're coming back up to it right now. It's squeezing. You see how the EMA is getting smaller and smaller and smaller right before we touch it? Getting smaller and smaller and smaller. We're coming up to it. We could very easily pop through it. Yes. I'm expecting that we do, actually. But that will only bring this up to about here. In order for this to be different than this, in my opinion, we would need to get above, maybe up to the 110, 115, and then hold above and bounce on that EMA ribbon to make a higher high. We would have to get above it, hold on it, and bounce to get a higher high. But in the life cycle of the bull market, this is where we're at, not here. And this time it did attempt to make a higher high after January. It did attempt to come back up after, not only that, but this EMA here was not flipped. We weren't into it, but we didn't go below it and hold as resistance. Here we went below it and held as resistance. And so it's trying to get back above it. But as you can see, one candle above, and then the next one fell back below. So right now, we don't have any candles above it. We're trying. We're on our way there. It very well could be the next candle. This is the weekly time frame. We have 4 days and 7 hours left of this candle. So during the next 4 days and 7 hours, this candle certainly could wick right above it, just like this one. Boom. And then after the 4 days, which would bring us to the end of this week, the next candle can open. That next candle after this one will open. And it probably will open above it. It'll be somewhere up here in the 103 to 105 range. Maybe even higher. But will it hold above it is the question, or will it just fall back below? Now, the way that you're going to determine whether it's going to hold or not is on the weekly, you look at the RSI. If when this gets up to 104, 105, and we are above the EMA ribbon on the weekly time frame, if this purple line is not higher than this previous high, if it's not higher than this downward trending resistance line, and it's only hitting this and starting to get resistance, starting to turn down like you see here and here and here, then I'm afraid that will be a continuation of bearish divergence and we will drop back down. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. Now, look at on the stochastic RSI, we got the blue line crossing the orange line to the upside. Both of them are above the dotted line, so that's bullish. So in the short term, this week, we will see a pump. It is pumping. As you can see, it is going up. And the price is going up. The chart is showing it going up. The RSI is going up. It just crossed the yellow line. We have 4 days and 7 hours left of this time frame. Both the blue line and the orange line are above that dotted line. They look like they're starting to get wider apart, which is bullish, as you can see here. When they cross this line, as if they get wider and wider apart, that's good. That's usually price going up. And so that's all bullish in the short term, which is all good for now. And so I guess the question is if I'm gonna say, oh guys, this is a continuation of the bull market, we're going into a super cycle, everything's different, this year. In order for me to say that, we would literally have to hold the support above this. And I will really feel confident if we break the bearish divergence. That's one thing we have not broken yet, even though the highs keep getting higher. So is it possible this shoots up to 130 and makes a new high? And this still doesn't get above this? Actually, that is possible, yes. But it is just unlikely because in January, after a bull market top on December 31st, on the 12-month time frame, that has never happened. That doesn't mean it can't or won't. It just has not yet ever happened. So with that being said, this is exactly where we're at. We're coming around, and we're going to make another attempt. The difference here is that we did not get higher, and bearish divergence continued. And that was the beginning of a bear market. And so is this a bear market that we're in? We already dropped 36%, something like that. Let me just measure it again from the top to the lowest point there. Yep, 36%. Here, that would be right about there. No, 36%, which would be right about there. And so if I take that 36% and put it down at the bottom, another 36%. I mean, we went all the way down to another 60% after that. That was a big drop. Let's just look at it. All the way down to 15.5. That was 77%. I'm not saying that's going to happen this time, but if it did, that would bring us right down to the 28 to 30K zone, which does correlate with previous support, resistance that we never retested. When we broke out here, we never retested this major support and resistance level. Support and resistance. Never did since then. And proper market structure would call for us to do that. And I said a year ago, 2 years ago, I was saying we're either going to do it sooner, like somewhere in here, like here, I was saying we're either going to come down and retest this now or after the bull market top. Anybody remember me saying that? It's either going to happen now or later. But I'm not 100% sure that it has to happen. It may not ever happen. We may not come back down to 30K. But I did say that it proper market structure would call for it to happen. It just never did. And so I'm not saying we're coming down to 30K. In fact, 36% drop that we're at right now might be the new bear market bottom. This could be it. That could be it. And that would be great, right? I don't think 80K would be the bottom. I would think that 73.8 or 70K would be. If you want to know the truth, if you want my honest opinion, I would think that we would need to come down to at least this resistance and this support. But maybe that has yet to be seen. But in the short term, we are pumping. In the short term, we're going to see this go up, possibly all the way up to here, like always. We're going to see this go up, possibly only to here, like has been happening. And we're going to see this go up, possibly up to equal to here, which was resistance, support. Boom. And that would be 104, 105. It would break above the EMA ribbon and then come back down very similarly to this time when it happened. And by the way, when this happened, it came up to 46, 47K. And if we just look across, that was previous resistance, support, resistance, support, support. Boom. I don't know. Things just correlate and look very similar to me. Now, That's just the EMA ribbon. There is something else. I'm not sure if I have access to it. Let's just look at it. Guppy, let me see. Guppy multiple moving average. There it is. 29.
There's also one called Super Guppy that's good.
Yeah, super guppy. I think that's what I'm looking for.
Nico,
Yeah,
what is that upper RSI line? What's the name of that one? Not the stochastic.
just the regular RSI.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and that's the default setting. I'm not sure which community is the best one, but let's just look at it. Here's something, guys, that most people don't ever look at. Let me get rid of some of these the moving average. And we haven't talked about this probably in a couple of years on this, in this group, because it's not relevant. It's kind of like the Gaussian channel. It's not relevant until it's relevant. But let's look at the super guppy. When the super guppy turns, this is where I was just showing you where we're at. When the super guppy turns gray, historically, that's the beginning of the end. When it turns gray and we flip the EMA, that's the beginning of the end. When it turns red, that's the bottom, near the bottom, coming back up. And guess what it just did? It just flashed gray. So we are coming up while it's flashing gray, but let's just look at what happens. I mean, look at it, flashed gray right here, and we came up through it, and that was the beginning of the end. Flashed gray right here, and we came up through it, and then beginning of the end. Now again, go ahead.
Use on that.
Talking to me, James?
Well, what time frame are you using?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What time frame?
I'm on the weekly.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Every time this has happened, this is back in 2014 when it turned gray. I mean, it's not me making this shit up. These indicators are for a reason. That's the beginning of the bear market. And I'm not saying that this time is the same. I'm not saying this time can't be different. I have to emphatically say that every time. But I have to look at all of these flashing warning lights in my eyes that are kind of telling me that these are the things that the pros use to know. For instance, if all you did was trade this super guppy, like if you did nothing else, then what you would do is you would wait for the super guppy to turn red, from gray to red on the weekly. As soon as it turns red, it's indicating the bottom is in. So whether you get in here, get in here, get in here, even though we had some ups and downs, that's pretty much the bottom of a bear market cycle. That's when you get in. Now let's go look at the next one. This was in 2018. Turned gray. Look at this, bear market. Boom. As soon as it turns red, as soon as the gray turns red, if you would have got in here, think about this. Look at that. Bam. Let's go back. Let's go to the last one. As soon as it turns gray, it's the beginning of the end. As soon as it turns red, now this wasn't the bottom, this was, but in the group we called the bottom here. I don't know if you guys remember, 17K. It did go a little lower to 15, but if you would have got in even here in a long position, that would have been very close to the bottom of the bear market as soon as this turns red. So it's hard to ignore this stuff because these indicators are for a reason, right? And the super guppy is popular in the stock market world and in crypto now, but I mean, it takes 4 years for it to start to happen again. So that's why we don't talk about it very much. But as soon as it turns gray, that's a warning sign. Now, can it be reversed? Let's just look at the only time that has happened where it reversed. Right here. I mean, it turned gray for a second and it was wicked way down and came right back up. Was there any other time? I can't remember what the reason for that was. I can go look. Let me just look at the time frame of it. Right here. Oh, that was COVID. That was a COVID crash right there. So unless we have some crazy circumstance, So
Hey,
you-
boss.
yeah, go ahead.
Steve's got his hand up. He's had his hand up a little while.
Sorry, guys. Go ahead, Steve. Please do me a favor, guys. When you raise your hand, just come off mute, and if no one else is talking, just interrupt me, because sometimes I don't see that.
Yeah, sorry, Nico, you already answered the question.
Oh, okay, no problem. Let me look at some of the questions in here. I think I answered some of these already.
So if it's turning gray, why aren't we shorting?
You can, but we want to wait for, because even when it turns gray, the beginning, you can see this big pump up, and that's what we're talking about, having this pump up to the 96 to 100K. So that would probably, if we cannot hold, so what I was saying is if we cannot get above this 104, 105, and it just wicks up and starts to come back down below the EMA ribbon, that would be the time to short. Because that would be this big fall right here.
And you look at that candle on Sunday, that last candle, would we be checking this every Sunday to see where it's at?
Yeah, because it's a combination between this and the EMA ribbon, and obviously the RSI on the weekly hitting. You know, if the RSI doesn't get above the lower lows, you know, the bearish divergence, then to me it's a foregone conclusion. Now anything can change. There could be some crazy announcement, you know, something with Iran, I don't know, something with the Clarity Act, I don't know. There could be something crazy that causes some huge crazy spike. But if that happens, then you will see it. You will see it on the RSI. You will see the change happen down here where we go above this. And then that would break this bearish divergence. Look back here in the last bull market, right here in 2021, where we went into a bear market. When it turned gray here, look what happened. We come down to the bottom, we bounce, and we come up for one more attempt. But we do not make a higher high. We hit this line right here, right on that pump through the gray. That's where we're at right here. We turn gray right here at the low, boom, and we're coming back up. And I'm expecting that to literally go through the gray, right up to that line. Somewhere up in that line, somewhere above this gray. This will come all the way up into this circle somewhere and hit this yellow line. If it goes through this yellow line and gets higher than the previous high, that would be like this one getting higher than this, or this one getting higher than this. That didn't happen. That's bearish divergence for you. It just keeps, even if the price gets higher. Now, this is the trick. This is where some people get confused. This price could pump all the way up to 130. And if this does not get higher than this, that would probably be the last. That will probably be the top. But in order for this to be a super cycle, and in order for us to go up to 130 and then 140, 150, 160, this has to get above this. We cannot continue that bearish divergence for that to happen. So that's why I'm saying, look at this. Don't necessarily look at the price. The price could go up to 120, 130. But if this doesn't get higher than this, when the price is up that high and this is still below this, then that is a bearish sign. That means that the end or the top is probably in. So just be careful there. We do have to break bearish divergence in order for us to have a super cycle. So I'm just, you know, now when you take that and you add in the super guppy turning gray, you add in that we're still underneath the EMA, we flipped it bearish, you add in the stochastic RSI and the bearish divergence, you add all this in, it's just too many check boxes, too many boxes checked off to the negative. Okay, so could it all change? Yeah, but it would have to be a catalyst. There would have to be some catalyst to make all that change. And there's people that disagree with me. That's fine. They can have their opinion. I'm looking at every indicator and I'm looking at every previous cycle. And I'm not saying that cycles are going to go on forever and then we're going to have these bull and bear market cycles. There's only one thing that is different this time. Well, it's not the only thing. There's a few things different this time. But no matter all the things that are different this time, let's just say with the president being crypto friendly, with the Genius Act and the Clarity Act and all these positive things happening for crypto, only one thing has changed on the charts. And that is the 12-month candle ended red on December 31st. That's the first. That never happened before. So with that, I'm a little concerned with that. This time could be different. This time could be different. But then if I go and if I weigh out that one thing that is different and compare it to all the other things that are the same, the things that are the same as the previous bear market cycles are outweighing it right now. That's all I'm saying. Patrick, is it possible the bull bear markets stay intact, but the time frame is no longer a 4-year cycle? Yeah. That would be a change. That would be this time. That would make this time different, obviously. But in order for that to prove out to be true, we would have to see a higher high sometime in the near future. We would have to see the bearish divergence break. And I don't think we have much time for that to it has to happen relatively quickly. I would say in January.
Nico, I got a question about tokenization. So we know that everything's going to eventually be tokenized, but how I just so new at this on the tokenization part. How can we start doing research to figure out how we can capitalize on that?
And that's what we're doing right now. I mean, I'm doing technical analysis, and this is, it's a time thing. It's a time frame thing. So if this is the beginning of the end, let's just say that the only thing that you needed to know was that this turned gray, hypothetical, on the super guppy. Let's just say that's all you needed to see to prove that this was the beginning of the end. Because every time this turns gray, it is so far throughout history. Could this time be different? Yes. But let's just say that it's not going to be. Let's just say hypothetical that whenever this turns gray, that's the beginning of the end. So should you just go short right now because of it, just because it's turning gray? No, because you could be stopped out because it could pump all the way up to 105 like it did here when it turned gray right here. And we came all the way down to 34K and pumped all the way back up to 48K. That's a $12,000 pump back up to the upside, going through all the gray and hitting resistance before finally coming down. The previous one, we came all the way down to 57.45 and it turned gray, and then we pumped through the gray all the way up to 84.97 before coming back down. So it's a timing thing.
Reframe my question a little bit. So is there certain crypto that's going to be tokenizing everything, or is all crypto going to be tokenizing things?
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed that part. No, I mean, not all most cryptos are going to go away. Most cryptos serve no purpose. Most cryptos are meme tokens and shit coins and have no function whatsoever. Bitcoin is the only crypto that is not an altcoin. Bitcoin is the only crypto that's 100% decentralized. Bitcoin is also serves no purpose other than a store of wealth. It doesn't function in any capacity as a service-based type of infrastructure, type of financial services type of token like XRP or XLM or HBAR and some of these other ones that are fast and reliable and have all the other qualities. So I would say that, I mean, I've been talking about XRP for a while. I think that XRP might be the chosen one. Elon Musk is announcing X payments. Anybody hear about that? Elon Musk is announcing X payments. He didn't say XRP, but he listed all the cryptos that can be traded, can also be sent on through X payments, and XRP was the only one not listed.
I saw that he's creating his own.
But all of those cryptos that he did list will require the Ripple network, and the bank that he banks with, Cross River, is the same bank that Ripple is his contracts with. So to me, it means that XRP will probably be X's crypto. It will probably be the chosen one. Because is he going to really compete against Ripple at this point? I mean, I don't know. Could he? Could he create his own? Yeah. I mean, it's Elon Musk, but would that be the right thing? Is that if all payments are going to go on the Ripple network, if Ripple is actually going to be the cross-border payment solution for the world's economies, and some of you may be questioning whether that's the case or not, but it's looking like it's heading that direction with all the contracts and the multi-billion-dollar agreements and arrangements with almost all the banks, the central bank, the Federal Reserve, and yes, the Federal Reserve uses Cross River Bank as well, and Cross River Bank is in bed with Ripple. So they could come out with Fed coin, but it would still require the Ripple network on the blockchain to work. And XRP. So, I mean, I don't know. I personally am not betting on anything else other than XRP as far as the, you know, the utility type of tokens. I mean, Ethereum, there's Ethereum. Ethereum certainly will go up in value. It certainly will be used for a lot of things, but it's not my favorite.
I think what she was saying, and I saw a video here, and I'm in the Valley, Texas, and they're here in McAllen. Some poor persons tokenized a house, and it's now it's in a like digital token or something like that.
Yeah. So tokenization is, for instance, that's not even necessarily crypto in general. That's more oh shit, what are they called? What are those things that people used to sell the images of the monkey faces? Anybody?
Bored Ape.
Mojo?
A what?
Mojo? I don't know.
NFTs.
NFTs.
NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So that, yes, tokenization is happening, but an NFT is something different. So if someone wants to convert an apartment building, let's just say, or a house to an NFT and then sell 500 shares, then 500 different people could own that house, let's just say, because they're all pitching in a little bit to own a piece of the NFT. Now the house is being rented out, let's just say, and the rent is coming into the NFT, and every single person that has a little piece of that NFT is getting a dividend. Every time the rent is paid, the house, the apartment building, doesn't matter what it is, then that money is getting dispersed amongst all the people who are investors in that NFT. And if one of those investors wants out and they do not want to continue to get that dividend, and they just want their money, they can simply sell their share of the NFT. They don't have to disrupt the property. In other words, in a normal situation, if 3 or 4 people or 5 people went in on a house and we're all renting it out and we're splitting the rent that comes in every month, and I decide I don't want in anymore, I want my share of this house. You know, we got one disgruntled investor. Well, the rest of us, the other 4 investors, are going to have to either buy that person out, pay them off, or we're going to have to sell the house to cash them out. So with an NFT or tokenization, you know, everything will be tokenized probably to some degree. Now, what crypto is it going to be? Is it going to be the one that's the fastest transaction? It's going to be the one. NFT is a little different, but everybody can agree on getting paid in Bitcoin or Dogecoin or XRP, I guess. But the only crypto I know of, guys, that can handle settlement with any other crypto is Ripple. Ripple can send Bitcoin faster than Bitcoin blockchain can send Bitcoin. If you want to send me Bitcoin and you do it on the Ripple network, if you're able to, it will come to me faster than if you just send me Bitcoin directly on the Bitcoin blockchain. Because Ripple here's what Ripple does. Ripple will take Bitcoin, convert it to XRP, send it in a second, and then on the other end, convert it back to Bitcoin. They can send $1 million in cash. What happens is you go to the bank to do a wire transfer, it immediately gets converted to XRP, gets sent immediately, instantly. In 1 second, it's at the destination, they convert it back to cash. So the person then doesn't even know that Ripple was involved or XRP or anything. But that's how cross-border settlement and all the stuff is going to take place on the blockchain. It's going to be converted, sent, and then converted back. But yeah, I mean, as far as tokenization is concerned, yeah, it's scary because, well, I mean, everything potentially will be and can be tokenized. I mean, everything. You buy a toy on Amazon for Christmas for your nephew, and it immediately gets converted, it gets tokenized and sent out. You can track that purchase on the blockchain, so you can see that you bought it on the blockchain, and then it comes to you. There's a tag on there on the blockchain that shows. Now, let's say 2 years goes by, you got all these toys, your kid's not playing with them anymore. You decide to put them up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Someone buys that from you. Let's just say and then they're buying a share of the token or whatever, or tokenization. They're buying a share of the NFT. You give them the toy. Now the blockchain shows that transfer to that person. There's a never-ending paper trail forever, all the way to the dumpster. Whereas right now, that's not really the case. So there's going to be less privacy. I mean, the people and the faces may not be seen, but the actual items, the transfers and the transactions will be forever there on the blockchain.
Is that why Amazon is now working with Ripple, because they're going to tokenize everything, kind of like what you're saying?
Could be. I mean, they're making cross-border. I mean, people with Amazon, people all over the world use Amazon, and I used to sell on Amazon. So if I wanted to, I could sell just in the US, but if I wanted to sell in China, or if I wanted to sell in Europe or Italy, I could set that up in my back office to be able to do that. But I would have to have a conversion method. So if I'm selling something in Italy and someone's paying me in Italian currency, it has to be converted. Who pays the tax? If I'm selling in another country, am I paying Italian tax? Am I paying US tax? All this stuff. So Amazon figured out a way to make it so that the individual sellers didn't have to worry about that. It was all done automatically. And Amazon did that on their own back office for Amazon sellers. But then with the partnership with Ripple, I think it's just going to make everything more seamless. I'm not really even sure how it all works, to be honest with you, but they are partnering with them for cross-border transactions, and they're not the only ones. 11,000 banks around the world, major countries, governments are as well. So I think that is the future, and that is the way it's headed. And I don't see any other crypto being talked about as much as Ripple or XRP in that regard. And people might say, well, yeah, but why isn't the price going up? I think it's all bullshit. I think they're just, and it's just because they don't understand that in order for the price to change, the supply on the retail level has to be liquidated. In other words, the liquidity is still there in the retail because the billions of XRP that is being bought up daily by the powers that be and by the institutions are buying at OTC over the counter from the Ripple founders or the corporate offices. And once that supply is used up, then it spills over to the retail. And I can't remember how many are left, but I don't know if it's 60 billion or 30 billion, but it's dwindling with 1 billion plus a day being liquidated off the exchanges. It is getting there. It's just, it seems slow as far as the price is concerned, but there will come a time when there is such a thing as supply shock. And that's when we just jump up 7x or, all at once. We go from $2 to $14. And then that happens again where we go from $14 to 40 or 50. It may not go right to 100. It may not go right to 1,000, but it can certainly go to 14 very quickly overnight. And it could certainly go to 27 to 47 after that.
Hey, sorry, I just snorted, Nico, and it unpaused my mic. I wanted to ask you,
Okay.
Can I add some information? I won't challenge anything you've said about.
No, you feel free. I might be wrong about a lot of things. Go ahead.
You've been absolutely right as far as I'm concerned. Ripple has control of this thing called the Ripple escrow. Let's just call it that. They have control of it, but it's physically, cryptographically locked to only release a maximum of 1 billion tokens per month. Now, Ripple gets to decide what to do with that. They can sell it to institutions for their own cash flow or for whatever reason they want. But almost every month, they put about 70% of it back into escrow, and it gets locked for further time in the future. I don't know how many years it's locked for, but it gets relocked and pushed out into the future. So, yes, there is a leakage of Ripple, of XRP constantly into the public, or possibly into institutions that are buying it from Ripple. But it's not really their control how much, except for what they have control of over every month. Much like a lot of other crypto projects, they have a way to release tokens into the stream of appreciating value, market cap.
Yeah.
And Ripple's management does have control of it, so they are the governance of the ledger, but they can't just indiscriminately decide to give it to the government. I guess they could because they're controlling it.
Yeah.
But it would only be released at that rate. So if they decided to give it all to the government, then it would really only be $1 billion per month at a maximum.
Yeah. Now, what if it got to the point where all available supply was already liquidated or bought up, and then they had to release that?
On schedule that could happen in sometime in the 30s, in the 2030s. That could happen. That all of it is out, but I think what's more important is
that's only
traders.
That's only at the current pace it would take to the 2030s. If there was a switch flipped and all institutions flipped over to the Ripple network for cross-border settlement, then that would change very quickly. It wouldn't take that long for them to use up that liquidity.
I agree. It would be almost instant, and it would be a severe shock, a supply shock.
Right. And so the price then would adjust to that, and that would happen very quickly. So that is what I think a lot of people are expecting to happen, but I wouldn't say to hold your hopes up to hit $1,000 overnight, but certainly $10 could happen relatively quickly. And then after that, I mean, I would say 10 to 14. And then after that, maybe 27 to 37 relatively quickly. And when I say quickly, I mean this year. I mean, I'm not talking about tomorrow, but in 2026, we could have a 7 to 20x, probably somewhere in that range.
I think so too.
To me, that's huge.
A spring that's been coiled up for the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
I think
Chuck, go ahead. Manuel, you said
do you all realize how much of a financial education we're receiving? Thank you for sharing, everyone. We don't have to enroll in a class, worry about textbooks, or have exams. Thank you for the education.
Thank you, Alex. And thank other members like Kimmel, who there's a lot of smart people in this group who do even more research than me, and they have more information and they all bring it to the table. So we get to hear everybody's knowledge and experience. Thank you, Keith, and other people who contribute from Keith's vast years of experience trading the stock market and Wall Street and all that stuff. So yeah, I appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Nico, not to backtrack, but you were talking about the NTFs. Can you take any existing business and turn it in an NTF, tokenize it?
I believe you can. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Nico, getting back to what Victoria was saying about tokenization a few years back, maybe around 2021, there was a Token Labs. I don't think it's around anymore, but they were tokenizing real estate. It'd be like if you were to buy two houses for sale in a development, exactly the same. One has a smart contract on it, almost like a certified used BMW, or the one down at Charlie's used car lot. You're going to go with the certified used car that has all the bells and whistles been checked. Well, this company, that's what they did. They were ahead of their time, I think, because, they're not around, but that's where it's going, where tokenization of real estate, where you go in and, I know when I bought houses, I've had an inspector go in for a couple $100, tell me everything that's wrong with the house before I bought it, and like I said, and get out of it. So as you tokenize things, and now obviously that was on ETH before Solana or some of these other ones were even around. But as these other ones kind of like we saying with XRP or different things, you got to go with the company. I mean, when I buy stuff, I look for something. Someone says a lifetime warranty as opposed to, oh, this one has 30 days or a year. I'm 9 times out, it might be a little bit more, but I'm going to go with the one that lifetime warranty because it's more secure. They're backing their product. It's like anything else. And I think as you see XRP, coming up as the predominant front runner, you're going to go with a company. And like I said, take the different probabilities that are out there, take away the risk factors. I mean, I used to listen to AM radio when I used to drive a lot back in the 90s. And I would listen to talk radio all day long, but it was all financial talk radio. They would, hey, buy Apple for $10 or whatever different was. And I would listen to the different people, okay, who's saying what, do my research, and then I would buy stocks and everything else. And like anything else, you have a great track record. The people you bring in, Chad has a great track record. You listen to the people that, are doing what they're saying and not just, a guru saying, oh, buy this, buy that, So I just thought it'd help.
Yeah, and I'm very me personally, I'm very cautious on what I say to buy and invest in because I generally don't tell anybody to buy anything or invest in anything unless I am. And even then I tell you, just because I'm doing it doesn't mean you should. Sometimes I take more risk than others or that I recommend anybody else do. But that has served me well over the years, taking the risks that I take. But at the same time, I don't just do it haphazardly. I do it after research. I do it after looking at all the possibilities. And sometimes I'm wrong. I can't say that I've always been right. It's just that when I am right, it's much better turnout than the few times that I'm not when it comes to certain things. So I don't worry too much about being wrong, but I don't want anybody else to put their life savings at any of my recommendations without first considering the risk and understanding what you're doing. But at the same time, I think we're all adults here and we all know that, this is, anytime you're investing in anything, there's very, very low risk, mutual funds, bonds, treasury bonds, things like that are extremely low risk, but the reward is also extremely low. Now, if you already have a lot of money from other things you've already taken lots of risks on, and you then want to move it into very low treasury bonds, let's just say, and you want to get a 4 or 5% per year guaranteed return, well, how much money do you need for 5% a year to be fruitful? It depends on how much you can live on, how much you want. You want 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month, you're going to need millions to invest. And then what? All those millions got to be tied up just for you to get 100 grand a month. Is that good enough for you? And so, I mean, most people take the lump sum when they win the lotto. They don't take the payment plan. Why? Because they don't want to wait for the money. They'd rather have it all now. Yeah, so I think, I mean, it's smarter if you do the right thing with it. If you take 100 million right now rather than 20 million a year for the next, whatever, 5 years or 10 years or 10 million a year for the next 20 years, a lot can happen in 20 years. If you take the 100 million right now, you could do the wrong thing with it and in 20 years be broke, or you could do the right thing with it in 20 years and have $1 billion.
Buy some XRP.
At least with some of it, right? Or you might say, screw investing. I already have enough money. I don't need to invest anymore. I don't need to grow it anymore. I just need to live off of it. And that's an option. But yeah, guys, so we're just going to do our best here to predict the future. And unfortunately, predicting the future is a crystal ball game, and we don't have crystal ball. So we have to deduce all the possibilities down to what's the most likely thing to happen and what's the least likely thing to happen. And that's all I can do, really. I can't, that doesn't mean the least likely thing to happen won't happen. It's just based on everything I'm looking at. It's the least likely thing to happen, but it still could happen. And I mean, you guys how many of you know of Mr. Beast? Probably everybody, right? Everybody knows who Mr. Beast is, right? He's the YouTuber who has 458 billion subscribers, not million. I'm sorry. Wait, is it? No, I'm sorry. 458 million subscribers, but billions and billions of views per video. It's like ridiculous. Well, he has his own show now on, I think, Amazon. Yeah, he's partners with Amazon also. And it was like this competition. And it was like the most money ever given away in any kind of reality show, any kind of game show. Where it started out with 1,000 people and it narrowed it down to one winner who was going to win $5 million. And at the end, he doubled the prize to 10 million. Along the way, some people won hundreds of thousands, some people won millions. One woman won an island for 1.8 million. I mean, he was just giving away ridiculous amounts of money, right? But during the commercials, now here's the genius of it all. He's being sponsored. So T-Mobile is one of the sponsors on his set that he built, $5 million set that he built to create this whole game show. T-Mobile's over here in the corner and their signs there. They're sponsoring it. Tide and all the, the laundry detergent companies. But if you don't get Amazon Prime, or if you don't pay for the commercial-free version to watch his show, if you don't pay extra, I think it's like $29 or something like that a month. If you don't pay for that commercial-free, then every commercial not only is a regular commercial that you used to see on TV, but when you're watching it on a smart TV, then it's basically an app, right? And the commercial comes up and it shows somebody washing laundry, let's just say using Tide Pods or whatever. And there is a button you can click to add it to cart right there on your TV. When have you ever seen that before? You can literally buy. I mean, imagine back in the day growing up, you're watching television and you see the commercial, the Cheerios commercial or the Captain Crunch commercial or the McDonald's commercial. But you have to literally get in your car and drive to those places to go buy the item that the commercial is about. Nowadays, you don't even have to do that. The commercial comes on. There's a button that you can literally take your remote control on your TV and point it to that and click on it and add it to your Amazon cart and order it and have it delivered tomorrow. Maybe even today, maybe in the same day. And it's crazy. And he's getting a piece of all that because he's partnered with Amazon and he's just getting richer and richer and richer. But I don't even remember why I brought that up. But I think the point is that we're getting to that point, guys, where everything is digitized, everything is crypto and blockchain and instant. And there's probably going to be soon where we're watching that same thing. Oh, there's a company in Australia that created something amazing. And I this is going to be in the United States soon. If this guy doesn't do it here, someone else is going to copy him. But you go to a bar or a sports arena to watch a sports game, let's say soccer or football or anything. And instead of you being up in the bleachers looking down at the field, it's kind of like being at the Dome in Vegas, the Sphere, and if the screen is wrapped around you. And so it's all three-dimensional. And instead of, no matter where you're sitting in the bleachers, no matter what bar you're sitting at, no matter what restaurant you're at watching this television, whether you're in your house or whatever, if you go to this place, it is as if you were on the sidelines. It is as if you are right next to the players. It's insane. If you actually saw this commercial for this thing, it is nuts. So yeah, we're going there, guys. You're not even going to be, it's already getting to the point where we can't even tell what's real and what's not real anymore on these videos on social media. Everything's AI generated. There's fake people. There's literally AI women with OnlyFans pages making $100,000 a month, and they're not even real people because some guy created them to trick other men into paying these women. Like, it's just insane what's going on. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. My mother, she's constantly sending me videos. Is this real? Now she can't tell what's real and what's not real. She's always sending me videos. Is this real? And it's never real. Whatever she sends me is never real. It's always something that's outrageous. I'm like, Mom, do you believe that all of a sudden after 84 years, aliens are landing in people's yards? That's fake. Do you believe that the cat is really riding a bicycle down the interstate? Do you believe that the cow is roller skating? Is this all of a sudden just happening for real? But the video looks so real, right? And it does look real. It looks amazingly real. And guys, I mean, did you see? I mean, they're playing pranks on people where the guy is sleeping. The guy is sleeping. And I know this has nothing to do with trading, but I'm bringing you to a point here. The guy is sleeping on a park bench. Someone videotapes him up close and then puts a filter on it to make it look like some old man was coming over and kissing him while he was sleeping. And he wakes the guy up and says, hey, I just wanted to let you know that some old guy just came over and was kissing you. And the guy's like, no, there was nobody kissing me. And he takes his camera and he shows him the video of an old guy kissing him. And he's like, who is he? Where'd he go? Which way? And they literally go on a run to try to catch the guy. And the guy never existed. The guy used a filter to make it look like someone was kissing him and got this guy so worked up and so panicked. He wanted to kill this guy who was molesting him while he was sleeping. And it looked so real. And so now what's going to happen here in the future is that people are going to be framed for things. People are going to be accused of things, blamed for things they didn't really do. The courts are going to have a mess with this.
Hey, Nico.
It's going to be insane. Yeah, go ahead.
You remember that movie Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger and that black fella, I forget his name.
Yeah.
But it was something like that, where he was framed for shooting civilians in his helicopter, and he either played the game and gone free if he won, or they tried him.
Yeah, yeah. And there's another movie he was in too, or it was either him or Sylvester Stallone, where they were basically arresting people for crimes that they were about to commit because they thought about it. And so they had the technology that could read your mind and basically arrest you before you actually committed the crime. And so they were knocking on people's doors. What was it called?
Minority Report. That was Tom Cruise.
Yeah. And guys, I mean, now there is technology that's doing this stuff right now. It's going to get very interesting in the near future. Some people might want to opt out. Some people are like, this is too much. I can't even deal with this. But it's getting nuts. So anyway, with all that being said, just be very careful who you trust online. Nothing is real almost anymore. It's almost absurd. We're living in the land of absurdity right now. We got people protesting for things that they would never agree with normally. We got I don't even want to get into politics right now. It's too much. Yeah, you're right, El Bizarro. We thought the Bionic Man back, the $6 million man, the Bionic Man back in the 70s and 80s, we thought that was cool and unrealistic. That's nothing anymore compared to what's going on. Go ahead.
Hey, Nico, did you think Elon purposely left out XRP when he made that announcement about the X payments, or he was just trying to be sneaky?
Yeah, because all of those other cryptos will have to be, he has to use a network. He has to use a blockchain technology. And I think leaving out XRP, I mean, why would he leave XRP out unless Ripple was the actual network that all the other ones have to work on? It just so happens that he banks at Cross River. The Federal Reserve banks at Cross River. XRP's partnerships with Cross River Bank. Ripple's a partner with XRP. I mean, with Cross River. It just makes a little too much sense that he didn't announce that, because that could affect the price of XRP. But it almost seems like it will be the one. It's the only one he didn't list, right? That doesn't make sense. That's kind of weird.
Why? I just want to interject. Why does Larry Fink refuse to talk about XRP in public?
Yeah, they all know something.
It's the same reason.
Yeah, he doesn't deny, but he doesn't confirm, and it's all very, very hushy. I can't talk about that right now. It's very uncomfortable, right? They're very uncomfortable when it comes up, and because they're all sworn to secrecy, because they don't want the price to change until they're ready. They don't want the retail market to go crazy buying. They want everybody to continue to think that it's not doing anything. And they want you to sell when it hits $5 and $10. They would love for you to get out at that price.
I just want to say something so that I don't have to type this. If anybody is questioning the sincerity and legitimacy of Ripple Corporation, just go on LinkedIn and look at the employees of Ripple Corporation and each of their employees' history of all the jobs that they've had, who they've worked for. It's insane.
Oh, it is. I actually played a video the other day or a couple days ago, and the guy that was talking really fast, talking about all the connections to Ripple throughout the world. It is insane. Yeah. Even Elon Musk, guys. Even Elon Musk. If you go back to the main crew of people when he, you know, when they were bringing on when they were bringing on PayPal and all the people that were involved in the Bitcoin 2.0, which is basically XRP. It's Ripple. Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm not saying anything bad about Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to be something big, but
Elon, the PayPal Mafia. So there's a good book. It's the or not the autobiography, but a biography of Elon Musk. I can't remember who wrote it. It's on Audible, but he was trying to create a digital payment rail with PayPal. But blockchain wasn't invented yet, or so we think it wasn't anyways, right? So I think he's involved somehow with X for sure.
yeah, he's also very, very tiptoes around the conversation. Even when people ask him about XRP on public forums, he has to be very careful what he says. He changed all of his company's names to X. I mean, just think about that. SpaceX, X, Twitter, X. I don't know, man. There's just too much that just seems weird. But that's even if he wasn't involved, it still is. Ripple is still Brad Garlinghouse and the president, the lady, the woman, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. All the developers behind it, the smartest people in the room, the smartest people in anything out there right now that are all behind Ripple are the best of the best in the world.
Does anybody remember the old campy movie, The President's Analyst, with James Cogburn? He's been selected by the U.S. government to act as the personal psychoanalyst for the president. So the president can talk to him, but he doesn't have anybody to talk with. But everybody keeps trying to kidnap him to find out what the president has told him, because there's one company, and all his paranoia is actually true. One company is trying to take over the world, and you have to get to the very end, because now this was like 1980s movie, I guess, but it was the phone company, because at that time they handled all the communication. But there's always been some theme about one company taking over the world. Excuse me, it was 1967. It was even older.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Might be before my time, but
Oh, it probably was. Unless you're over 70, you probably won't remember it.
nah, I mean, I watched a lot of old stuff back in the day, but I don't remember it
Ask
off
your
the top
mom
of my head.
about it. She might remember it.
Yeah, I mean, interesting times for sure, guys and gals. Let's see what else we got. General question: are people staking their Optio? I'm waiting for Billy to respond to me about after his mother's death. Obviously, he's not here today, and I tried to get him on today, but I think because of his mother unexpectedly dying this past week, that changed his plans for this week. So I'll get him on just as soon as possible. But there's a lot of people in here staking their Optio. I just haven't yet. There's just remember there's a 21-day lock on that when you do that. So if you do it, you go to unstake, it takes 21 days for it to be available to you. But I don't really know all the particulars about it. That's why I wanted to get him on to answer everybody's questions one more time.
Hey, Nico.
Yeah.
As far as the staking Optio, I think one of the things to consider, and this would be like if you had a large amount of money, you can buy Optio and you can stake it and you can get more Optio, just like a lot of other coins that have staking. And the time when getting it unstaked would be critical is, let's just say, Coinbase listed Optio. I know a lot of other things have to happen before that happens. But let's just say tomorrow, Coinbase listed Optio and it had a huge spike up in price. Well, if I had everything staked, I wouldn't be able to sell for 20 days.
Yeah.
It's just something to think about.
Exactly. And so how do you counter that? Like he just said, you can go to Coin Store and buy Optio. Even on MEXC, I believe, is the only other trading platform that I know of. But on Coin Store, you can buy Optio, and you can buy 1 million or, yeah, I mean, what's the current price? 0.004 cents or something like that. You can buy 1 million of them for a couple $1,000s. Oh, let's just see. Let me just do the math real quick. Times 0.004. For $4,000, you can buy 1 million of them. So now you're a whole year ahead of how much you would be able to mint if you had 20 nodes. It would take you at 20 nodes, it would take you a year to mint 800,000 at the current reward level. So you could buy a year's worth right up front for another $4,000 and just sit there with that and stake the rest. The price pumps up, like he just said, it will get listed on Coinbase someday. Let's say that happens. Boom, we got a huge price appreciation. You want to liquidate the existing token or the free tokens you have, the ones that are free, not locked up, and then unstake the rest. You can do that. And then let's just say the price stays high. Maybe it does come back down a little bit, but maybe not all the way down. And then you can sell off what you want if you want to, or you can keep staking, let it grow over time. The problem is with pumps and dumps, like other things, like Gala, for instance, the crypto that Billy actually made most of his money on, all of his money on, most of it, it went from very low, like 0.04 cents, all the way up to 57 or 67 cents. And he made like $9 million or something like that, 10 or 11, I can't remember exactly. But it didn't stay at 67 cents, guys. It came back down. Remember, if you remember, during the last bear market, Gala came back down drastically. So if you don't take advantage of those pumps, sometimes you have to wait a while for it to go back up.
Optio is actually under 0.02 right now. So you can buy even more than you were saying, twice as much.
Yeah. Yeah, these little price range that we're in right now, it's not something that I even pay attention to. I know it's going to fluctuate before it goes up. And but I think that there's some things that the reason why he actually wanted to come back on with you guys is to talk about is because there are some things getting ready to happen that I think that everyone would be excited about, and that could cause a major pump here soon. He seems to think that some of you guys are going to be millionaires because you bought 10 and because you have 20 nodes. Here, I wanted to play this for you. This is what I was trying to find. Here, let me just play this for you real quick. Federal Reserve Financial Services.
Oh, shit. I think we're cooked. Oscar is one of the leading players in instant payments. Fed now allows us to operate out of our master account with Fed. It makes it easy for us to participate in Fed now and send money.
Vice President of Product Payments for Cross River. Fed Now, he's talking about.
And send money for their financial institutions without having to refund different accounts. We know that customer demand is instant payments. We believe that instant payments is going to be the charge in payments the future. How do you think that run that check?
Cross River Bank to integrate Ripple for real-time international payments.
Oh, shit.
Cross River is the bank that Elon Musk banks with. Cross River is the bank the Fed wants to use for cross-border payments. Cross River is the bank that Ripple is contracted with. So you have to put all these pieces together, guys, and think for yourselves. It's all coming. They're already, the infrastructure is already there. It's already happening. People are worried about, oh yeah, Fed, they're not going to use XRP, they're going to use their own Fed coin. Okay, yeah, but it's going to be on the Ripple network. It's going to be
I think we're coattails. Cross River is one of the leading players in instant payments. Fed now allows us to operate out of our master account with Fed. It makes it easy for us to participate in Fed now and send money for the financial institutions without having to pre-fund different accounts. We know that customer demand exists in instant payments. We believe that instant payments is going to lead the charge in payments in the future.
How do you think that run that test?
Oh, shit.
so little things like that. It's interesting.
Fed now.
Interesting to know.
Actually, Nico, Shree's in my family office that I work with. We have conference calls like once a month. He's got the family office into SpaceX the last 2 years, Stripe, and a couple other ones. He's like right next to Elon doing the things that he's doing. So if he's the things you're showing, he's one smart cookie, man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on, guys. It's too much. It's too much to ignore. And then I'm trying to remember the young lady, and somebody else can help me out here. The president of Ripple. Anybody know her name? I'll look it up real quick here, but I got a lot of videos.
Monica Long.
Who?
I believe it's Monica Long.
I knew Kimmel would know. Kimmel knows everything about XRP.
I think Brad's the CEO, Bill?
Yeah, Brad is.
I'm gonna shoot you a message, Kimmel, about
Brad Garlinghouse.
XRP. A DM. Look for your DM.
Oh, thanks. I'll look for it.
She's the one that gets interviewed all over like CNBC and all the financial networks. And if you just listen to her and listen to what they're involved in, what they're doing, it's like, it's just a matter of time, guys. It's not even a question anymore for me. That's why I'm so confident about it. But it doesn't mean that it's going to happen the way I'm hoping. It just means that something's going to happen. That's for damn sure. And there is going to be price appreciation. What it equals, I don't know. What it gets to, I don't know really yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be beyond most people's expectations. I think it's going to blow most people's heads off when it finally does do what they think it's going to do. That's just my opinion, but I have a feeling that is going to be the case. And I'd just rather be prepared than not. I'd just rather have a lot of it, than not. And this to me is just the normal. I mean, this is up in the this is up in the $29, $30 range up here in the top. And we've just seen this happen a few times. Now, it takes a long time for this to happen, a couple of years from 2014 to 2018, boom. From 2018 to 2024, boom. What's going to happen over the next couple of years, guys? Or this year? I mean, we've already popped out of this. We're like here. So, another pump up, $9, $10, $14. I think $14. Just remember what I just said. $14 is a 7x from where it's at right now. I have a feeling that is going to be where it pumps up to first. And then after that, maybe up in the 20, 30 range. But that's just my opinion. But let's just see. Let's just see. 7x, yeah, that's a comfortable. That's a reasonable short-term expansion that's probably going to wake some people up. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of people selling for profit, and you're going to have a lot of new money coming in because they're going to finally think, oh shit, it's really happening. And then you're going to see liquidity disappear, evaporate on the retail side, and price will just shoot up from there. Well, all the late people, just like all the people lining up to buy gold at 4,800, just like all the people lining up to buy silver at $75. They weren't buying when it was $13 a couple of years ago. They're buying now at $85. But this is interesting, guys. So maybe put on the super guppy on your trading view on Bitcoin on the weekly. It just turned gray. We are coming back up into it. This is we got 15 minutes. We got a basics call starting here in 15 minutes with Bill. So make sure you get on that. This is what I'm looking at right now. Let's just go back to my chart. I am short on Bitcoin with a very tiny amount because I wanted to catch that double top, but it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, it is at 96 still. Nothing's moved this whole hour and a half since we've been on this call. Let's just go back to it. It did get a little higher and it wicked right up to that 97. It hit 97.7. It's coming back down to retest. So let's look at this right here. If we hold here and bounce, this could be a continuation of the upward trend. But that level that it just bounced on, that line right there that I have, that it did go up to, is this. Let me just zoom out a little further and see that that is a major support and resistance level. Look at that, going all the way back to here and here and resistance here. Back to May of last year. So we did hit resistance here. Let's just go back a little further. We had support and resistance on that line. So this is a major support and resistance level going all the way back to 2024 when we came up to this level. We broke above it here, fell back below, broke above it, came back below and held as resistance, broke above it, came back below, broke above it, went up to 109, came back below and held this as resistance, that 97K. We hit it resistance, we broke above it, held as support, went up to 112, came back down and held as support, went all the way up to 123, went to 124, went to 126, and look at this, boom. And then right here, holding it again, and this is where we're coming up to, guys. This is the major resistance level right here. So if we get through that, yeah, then we could get up to this one, which is the 100. And if we get through that, we're certainly going to get to 109 probably. These are all the levels. But if we can't get through this, and this right here, by the way, let me just zoom out. We come down to a lower time frame. We are upward trending. And if I tighten that in a little bit, maybe we hit it. Let me just look. Yeah, we hit it. And the reason why is, look at this. We had a wick through. We come all the way back down and we went right up and hit it. So if I put that line right there instead, we hit it. We hit that line and we wicked right through it to the white line. So possibly coming down to retest this line down here, or we're going to bounce here, go sideways, maybe hit it over here somewhere. We don't necessarily have to touch this line right now, but it looks like we're upward trending, but we did hit a major resistance level right here. So I just stayed in my short. It's coming back down right now. I'm only $12 negative, so I'm not concerned about it. But to answer the young lady's question in the beginning of the call, I would reverse that if we get above this. I would reverse that position if we get above this and hold. But where do I think we will go? Probably to 100. But I don't know if that's going to happen right away. That could be over here. That could be next week, for all I know. I could be somewhere over here. Right here where I have my mouse is January 15th. That's only tomorrow, right here. So this is the 10-minute time frame. So a lot can happen between now and tomorrow, right? But I think we could get up to here. It does look like it might be bouncing here. You see a little green, but we'll see. We got a little bit lower to go, right about there. Let's look at XRP real quick. Ethereum. Let's look at Ethereum too, because we haven't really talked about Ethereum, but it's doing something very similar. We do have an upward trend. We have maybe even a, hard to tell here, but it looks like maybe even a rising wedge, maybe lower highs. Unlike Bitcoin, this is getting tighter. We have major resistance right there. And that brings us right to . We went above it and held a support, broke below it, hit the upward trending support, hit resistance, broke through, held support, hit the resistance, came back down right to that level again. So interesting how that works. So we're either going to hold here and bounce and continue up in the coming days. When Bitcoin gets to 100, it'll probably bring Ethereum up to, let me just zoom out and see where the next, oh, look at that. It hit that level already. Right there. Could that be the double top? Looks very similar. That was support over here and support there. Looks like maybe a price range. I would say that that would bring us up to the point. Somewhere up in there, right up to the 3490, 3500 range. If we hit that price range in the short term. And that would probably bring Bitcoin up to 100 grand. It's correlating still. XRP. It did break the downward trending resistance, pumped all the way up to the 217, couldn't get higher, came back down, broke through and retested the 214 on its way back down to the 211 probably. Let's just see if it holds there or not. I like to make things lined up here so my eyes aren't driving me nuts. That's just a little zone right there. Yeah. It's hard to say in the short term, guys, but it's trying. There's a lot going on here. It's just interesting how this all just lines up with previous support and resistance levels. So we could just be in this range now for a little while. But if Bitcoin pumps back up and gets above 100, we'll see XRP get above 217 and get it back up to this 221 level, and then beyond, maybe back up to this level up here, 242, which it hit just like what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago or so. There will come a time, I think, when XRP will decouple, but right now it is still correlating. It's moving up and down with good old Bitcoin. So I will keep an eye on it. I'll let you know what I think. The only thing I was in an open position on is Bitcoin right now short. I did not give a signal for because that was risky because I was expecting a double top on Bitcoin, and it did go up a little higher. We just go back and look at that real quick. It did go up higher than this double top. This is where I shorted. It went up a little higher. It even went up higher than that. And now it hit the top of the upward trending channel, and it's coming back down, but it could be bouncing here and it could be on its way up to the 100. So if I would say that if we start to come back up to this 97, I'm just going to close out that short. And then I'm not saying I'm going to go long because I have a feeling that we might not get much higher than this. That's just, so if you want to know, my true feeling is I am looking for shorts. I will be looking for shorts, but it all depends on the RSI. If we break bearish divergence, I will be looking at longs. If we cannot get above the previous or the downward trending resistance on the RSI, and we only get up to 99, 100,000 maybe on Bitcoin, and it starts to come back down and starts to break some of these support levels, then I will be shorting. To me, that will be the beginning of a possible head and shoulders, and maybe even a nice big short from the top. But who knows, guys? This could be different this time, like some people think, and I actually hope it is different. I really do hope we blow through all this and make a new high and have a super cycle and all that changes, and XRP goes to the moon, Bitcoin goes to the moon. I hope so. We only live so long, right? I'd rather it be sooner rather than later, but at the same time, I have to be logical and reasonable and look at all these charts and indicators and what's happened in the past, and what these indicators like the super guppy showing the grayed out area. That's a little concerning. That's something that just flashed. that just flashed gray, that's usually an indication of, something bearish getting ready to happen. And the only time that was a false alarm was the COVID crash, where it did turn gray for a minute and then turn back again. So we'll see what happens. And we got 4 days and 7 hours left on the weekly. So really the rest of this week will really be a telltale sign of what happens there. Any last questions? We got 7 minutes left, guys. Get on the basics call with Bill coming up here. Camilla, my node OPT distribution went down. We talked about this before by about 40 shares a day. Why was that? And will that go back up? What happened is that the community rewards, which was over and above what your node mints every day, was being given to you as a reward. In addition, in other words, you were getting community rewards in addition to what your node mints every day. And that they voted on that to go towards the staking rewards instead. So your mint, and by the way, that was only those community rewards, from what I understand, was only supposed to be for the first year. And I think that ended January 1st. So the reason why everything kind of dropped as far as what you think you're getting for your tokens being minted is just because the community awards went away, but your node is still minting the same amount that it was. So I will have Bill come on and explain that, how all that works, but it was explained in the group chat. There's somebody posted something about it. I have no control over it, guys. It has nothing to do with me, but I'm in the same boat. Mine went down, but I also bought more nodes. So, it doesn't look like it went down much to me because I added more, but the total rewards is down a little bit. Patrick, what do you consider a lot of XRP? It depends on your own personal budget. If you have 1,000 XRP and XRP goes to $1,000, then that's $1 million. But if XRP doesn't go to $1,000, only goes to $10, then you've only got $10,000. So it does depend on you personally. It depends on what your goals are. Are you a long-term holder? Are you waiting for XRP to go to $250, $400? What if that takes until 2030? Well, that's only 4 more years. Are you going to not sell? Are you going to keep accumulating until then? Or are you looking to have a big liquidation sale when it pumps up to $20 or $30? If you got 1,000 of them and it goes up to $20, you got 20 grand. Okay, you spent 2,000, now you got 20. That's a 10x. Not bad, but that's not my goal. So, I've accumulated tens of thousands of XRP over the last year. Well, I started, guys, I was long XRP in this group when it was 49 cents. Made 1,300% gain on that pump from 49 cents up to, I think it was like 89 cents before it even broke $1. Okay. So we've been doing this for a long time with XRP. We got people in this group. My friend Yi, I don't know if she's on this call. She hasn't been here in a while, but we were playing with XRP back when it was 15 cents. And we had a lot of it on Coinbase back in the day, years ago, when it got delisted. And we had to wait for it to get relisted. Our XRP was kind of stuck for a while. And that was during the whole SEC thing. So it's been a long time, but a lot of people are like, oh, it hasn't done anything. Oh, it actually did. It's actually gone up like 30 or 40x in the past, 7 years or so. And I know that's a long time, but still that's a big return. That's more than any stock, or most stocks, I should say, or any other type of investment you could have had. So I think over the next couple of years, now that everything is coming to fruition and all of their ducks are in order and all their legal battles are over and all the compliance issues and all the regulatory bodies are all getting on board, I think we're going to see some 20xers again. I think that's going to happen. It's going to happen in a much shorter period of time. I'm thinking 2026 is going to be the year for some big moves. I don't know how big, but I'm hoping for it too. 1,000 or more. Yeah. I mean, if it goes to $10,000, then 1,000 XRP will make you $10 million. And can it go to $10,000? The answer is yes. How long from now? I have no idea. But it could. XRP could go to $100,000. It could have a higher market cap than Bitcoin and easily get up to those price ranges eventually. But when? I don't know. Robert, can you post that video? Yes. Thank you, Marlon, for your links. Appreciate you, bud. Mike, best place to buy Optio Coin Store. is probably the fastest, safest way, because on Mexi you have to open up an account on that trading platform. You got to use a VPN and all that stuff. So Coinstar. All right, guys, I got to run. Have a great rest of your day. Get on the call that's starting right now if you have time, get on the basics call, because there's a lot of good information there. A lot of stuff that Bill goes over in addition to answering more questions that you might have that you didn't ask me. Always try to ask them on these live calls, guys. That's why we're here for 2 hours at a time. I've had some people message me, get mad that I'm not responding to their DMs for basic questions that they could ask on these live calls. But I think some people are scared. And then they say, well, it's the same people asking the same question. That's because the same people come off mute and ask the questions. But every one of you, there's 200 people on this call. Every one of you can come off mute and ask a question anytime you want. That's why I'm here. And I don't even have all the answers, but some other people in the group have some answers that I don't have. So, but I'm doing my best, guys. I'm doing my best.
Nico.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bill posted the link to the basics call in the chat. It's also in the Discord, in the main chat, and on the announcements channel. Trying to think if there's anything else. I'm trying to get a hold of Bill to get him on a call, hopefully this Friday, maybe. But I'll let you know. Other than that, guys, have a great rest of your day. It does look like we did have a nice little pump over Bitcoin and XRP over the last 24 hours, but it looks like it's hitting some resistance. But I'll let you know if I see any changes. If I'm going to flip my short, or if I'm going to add contracts to it and stay short, it would have to come down below, I would say 95 into the 94K range. And then I will probably do that. It would have to probably break below 94. But if it breaks above 97, then I'll probably reverse it long and ride it up to 100. All right,
Nico,
yes.
Quick last question, if I may. If we were interested in looking at any coins that are in the area before it goes into like Coinbase, can you give where that was? Was it Dex? Oh, my mind just went blank. There was an area that you mentioned once before. If you were looking at coins,
Coin market cap, well, pre-ICO or ICO type of coins, Dex tools. There's a lot of
that's it.
Yeah, Dex tools. There's a lot of them on there on Pancake Swap or Uniswap and all these different cryptos that's the primary markets that they're on before they make it to centralized exchanges. Yes. But if you have a question about one particular, before you buy it, ask in the main chat. And there's a lot of people in here who do a lot of research on a lot of different things. Somebody on here can help you. Ask me, ask Bill. We can look into it and see what we think the long-term prospectus is of it. But there's a lot of coins, guys. There's millions of them at this point, and most of them are not going to make it anywhere. Most of them are not going to do anything. So look for a strong utility.
I had purchased 10 of the nodes, but just curious. My brother's been bugging me to death, and I said I'll just look into it. But I wanted to ask, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, sir. No problem. Anything you guys have questions about, concerns about, you want to check if it's valid, legitimate, if it's something you see on social media. Oh, by the way, guys, most of those, you should know by now, most of the videos you see on Facebook or Instagram, and it's some popular, influencer, even Jake Claver or many of the other ones talking, but there's a caption over their head or above their head that says something about Web3 or reach out to me, text me this if you want to know how to set up an LLC and all this shit. Do not ever respond to those. Those are mostly all scams. The person speaking might be a real person, but those scammers will take a video of them or me or anybody, and they'll just put they'll create a new Facebook page, and they'll even put that person's name and maybe spell one letter wrong. You won't know at first glance, some of you. And then you'll maybe reach out to them because it says reach out if you want to know how to protect yourself and make sure you get your crypto off of a major exchange. They're always trying to tell you transfer it off of the exchanges or you're going to lose it. That's not true. Okay. First of all, you're not going to lose your money off Coinbase. Is Coinbase the safest place? No, not your keys, not your crypto. Coinbase could have a liquidity issue. They could force a sale of a crypto, but they usually warn you first. I remember they did that already. They warned us when they were delisting XRP the first time, gave us like a month to sell it or convert it or get it off the exchange. So I don't think that that's going to happen, but don't be scared into thinking you need some kind of Web3 wallet. There's no such thing. Web3 is just in the internet. That's all that means. That just needs connected to Web3. It's Web 1, Web 2.0, Web 3.0. I don't even know what they're trying to make you think it's some special thing, but it's not. It's just the internet. It's just internet-based app is all it is, which is what most cold storage wallets are. If they have a hard wallet device or whatever it is, a physical device like Decent, which is the one I use. There is an actual what is it called? The thing you put it's a biometric device that you put your fingerprint on, but it connects to the app, and the app is on the blockchain. It's on the internet. Your crypto is not stored on your little device. It's stored on the blockchain. But your device allows you and only you to have access to it. Okay, so just be careful with that stuff. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Get on the basics call, and I will see you on Friday. Any questions, just put it in the chat or send me a DM if you need to. But I'll talk to you guys later.